I suppose even dying, on which you have written your book, there's more to dying than death. Dying itself can be that kind of process which is a display of the ultimate nature if we know how to really handle it or to accept it very romantically, positively. It's a powerful phase. How do you relate the dying process of dying in this respect?
I think again, I build on what I find people already intuitively get. And even materialists who don't believe in past and future lives, they do believe in heart connections. They go against everything that they ever believed in as a scientist. They will talk about their feeling of connection and love for their dear ones through this life, and that it doesn't end at death. And I think that's a really real intuition that we have as human beings, and maybe as animals as well. There's this sense that there's more meaning to it than it just goes poof and it goes out. Although a lot of people tend to think, oh, well, that's what I believe, so I don't worry about it. But then when it comes to actually dying, there's so much sense of healing and connecting to others, and a sense of an onward journey, and all these things that actually put people from the Buddhist point of view, put them in a positive state of mind. And I think, well, we can use what people are intuiting already when they come to die. Of course, it's very profound, because the only way you can explain that is if it's true. If actually we don't go out like a light, that actually there's something there that is going to re-manifest in a different form. But that's very philosophical and theoretical, and if you try to sort of say, do you believe this or not, they wouldn't know what to say. But if you just talk as if it's real, you find people find a lot of comfort in it, which I find really interesting. So that's the way I would approach death for myself and all my students, in a very intuitive way, I think. Encourage people to go with that intuitive sense, and to what extent they can, if they are practitioners, then obviously to bring their meditation practice into that, to whatever level they've got at. But also not to give them the idea, oh, you've been meditating, so therefore you should be able to now see the clear light nature and blah, 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 and meditate as through your death. I think I say to people, and I say to myself, what am I like at my worst? When I've got a cold or a headache, or I'm ill, what am I like then? What do I have faith in there? What can I practice then? Because that's probably how it will be when I die. And so I try to induce people to have some underlying confidence in their own nature, and if possible in the refuge and the bodhicitta. People really like, Westerners really like the idea of, even if they've got no understanding of how it's possible, they love the idea of being able to save all beings, or work for the benefit of all beings. And I capitalize on that too, because that will put them in a good frame of mind as they die.
Yeah, no, I think that is so important, isn't it, to have that right state of the mind, and if possible, a very altruistic or compassionate state. But then I don't know whether you also in your circles of students talk about the process of death that is known in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And here you find a much stronger link between dying and Buddha nature, especially with regard to clear light. And of course, also with all the visions you get after the final point of death. But somebody like me, when I look at it, they work perfectly well in the Himalayan Buddhist cultural context. Now, if you had to sort of render that in a sort of Western context, how easily can you relate it? I'm sure there are sort of universal sort of principles or values that are embedded there, but you probably need a new language or cultural sort of references to make it more effective. For instance, the experience of clear light or the deities in Bardo. Do you teach these, and how do you do that if you do?
I don't particularly. I tend to talk more in terms of mandala again. That your own personal mandala. This body is going to disappear, and what appears next is not so sure. But if you take refuge, the Buddhas have a power from their own side, and they can actually draw you towards awakening. If people say, "Oh, I love Amitabha," or "I love Avalokiteshvara," or "I love the Buddha," and I think that's good, then go with that. That's good. And then quite a lot of people, if you say to them, "Pray to the Buddha," they immediately have doubt. Whereas if you think, just have confidence in your true nature and make very strong pranidhanas to keep on the path of Dharma, then, and I'll take refuge or bodhisattva, they can do that with much more confidence. And if they're the sort of person, and I think you have to have some karmic connection with these visions and things, if that's going to appear, then they're going to know how to deal with it, and they can read the books. But I don't say to people, there's this big complicated practice you're supposed to do when you die. I mean, they're dying, for goodness sake. They're not. These are quite intricate and difficult things, and they can all understand not grasping. And anyway, when you read more carefully, you see, oh, this whole process of dying is laid out like that. It can all be over in sort of a matter of seconds. It depends on the being. It depends on who you are. And I think, well, the least sort of ideas and expectations one has of oneself at that time, probably the more confidence you have. So I encourage students to practice what they practice every day. That's what I'm going to do. Because that's what it's where my mind goes most easily, is what I'm doing every day. And I do it every day as if I will die today. So that when I die, I'm all, what's the word for it? I'm all set up to go.